Open your phone, scroll through any app. It could be social media, a news app, or even a simple weather update. Boom! You're hit with a tidal wave of information. Notifications, updates, messages, they all come rushing in. Videos, news articles, social media posts, it's endless. Each piece of content vying for your attention, each one more sensational than the last. And it's not just our phones. Tablets, laptops, and even smartwatches are constantly feeding us data. TVs, laptops, even billboards are vying for our attention. Everywhere we look, there's something demanding our focus. But with all this data flooding our brains, are we actually learning anything, or are we just becoming more distracted, or are we just passively consuming, letting it wash over us without a second thought? It's a critical question in today's digital age. That's the question we need to ask ourselves in this age of digital overload. Are we enriching our minds or just filling them with noise? The truth is, it's easy to get swept away in the current. The constant stream of information can be overwhelming. We click, we like, we share, often without really processing the information we're encountering. It's a cycle of endless consumption. But before we dive deeper, let's be clear, this isn't about swearing off technology or becoming digital hermits. It's about balance. This isn't about swearing off technology or becoming digital hermits. It's about finding a healthy balance in our digital lives. It's about becoming more aware, more discerning about what we let into our minds. We need to be critical of the content we consume. It's about taking back control of our attention and using it to actually learn and grow, not just be passively entertained. We need to engage with content meaningfully. By practicing mindfulness and taking breaks from our screens, we can better manage the flood of information. It's about quality over quantity. Organizing our digital space and setting boundaries can help us stay focused and productive. It's about creating a digital environment that supports our well-being. And let's not forget the importance of real-world connections and activities. Engaging in hobbies and spending time with loved ones can provide a much-needed break from the digital world. In the end, it's all about balance. By being mindful and intentional with our digital consumption, we can navigate the sea of information without drowning in it. There's a big difference between simply consuming information and actually learning from it. Learning requires critical thinking. It means questioning what we see and hear, considering different perspectives, and forming our own informed opinions. But in a world of instant gratification and bite-sized content, critical thinking can feel like a chore. Think about how often you hit the like button without really thinking about the content you're endorsing, or how often you share an article without actually reading it beyond the headline. These are signs that we might be slipping into passive consumption mode. We're not engaging with the information, we're just reacting to it on a superficial level. Here's a scary thought. A 2018 study by the Pew Research Center found that a large percentage of Americans have difficulty distinguishing between real and fake news online. This is not just a minor inconvenience, it's a significant issue that affects our daily lives and our understanding of the world around us. With the rise of social media, misinformation can spread like wildfire, often disguised as legitimate news. These platforms are designed to keep us engaged, and sometimes that means sensational or misleading stories get more attention than the truth. This constant exposure to falsehoods makes it even harder to think critically and discern truth from fiction. We are bombarded with information from all sides, and it becomes a challenge to sift through it all to find what's real. It's like trying to solve a puzzle while someone keeps swapping out the pieces. Every time you think you've got it figured out, new information comes along that changes the picture entirely. Just when you think you've got a handle on things, a new piece of misinformation pops up and throws everything into doubt. It's a never-ending cycle that keeps us in a state of confusion. This constant state of uncertainty can be exhausting, and it can lead to a sense of apathy or even cynicism. When we can't trust the information we receive, we might start to question everything, leading to a breakdown in our ability to make informed decisions. Neil Postman, a media theorist, warned us about this years ago. He argued that television, with its emphasis on entertainment, was turning serious public discourse into a shallow spectacle. And guess what? The internet has taken this to a whole new level. Complex issues are often reduced to clickbait headlines and oversimplified memes. We're bombarded with information, but it's often presented in a way that's designed to entertain rather than inform. It's like trying to quench your thirst with sugary soda. Sure, it might taste good in the moment, but it's not doing anything to actually nourish you. In fact, it's probably making you crave more empty calories. Short attention spans, shorter articles. A report by the Harvard Kennedy School found that people are spending less time engaging with in-depth journalism. Instead, we're drawn to shorter, more easily digestible content, listicles, tweets, short videos. There's nothing inherently wrong with these formats, but when they become our primary source of information, we risk missing out on the nuances and complexities of important issues. It's like trying to understand a complex scientific theory by only reading the abstract. You might get the gist of it, but you're missing out on the crucial details, the evidence, the counter-arguments, all the things that make a theory truly compelling. The medium is the message and the mess. Marshall McLuhan, another media guru, famously said, "The medium is the message." This phrase has become a cornerstone in understanding media theory and its impact on society. He meant that the way information is delivered is just as important as the information itself. And he was right. The medium shapes and controls the scale and form of human association and action. Think about it. Would a Shakespearean sonnet have the same impact as a tweet? The richness of Shakespeare's language and the depth of his themes would be lost in the brevity of a tweet. Would a presidential debate be as effective if it were conducted entirely through emojis? The nuances of policy and the gravity of leadership cannot be conveyed through simple icons. The internet, with its emphasis on speed and brevity, often prioritizes emotion over reason, sensationalism over substance. This can lead to a distorted view of reality where the most outrageous or emotionally charged content gets the most attention. It's a breeding ground for confirmation bias, where we seek out information that reinforces our existing beliefs while avoiding anything that might challenge them. This selective exposure can create a skewed understanding of the world. This creates echo chambers where critical thinking goes to die. In these echo chambers, diverse perspectives are drowned out and meaningful dialogue is stifled. The medium in this case becomes a mess, distorting our perception and understanding of reality. Lies spread fast, truth takes its time. A study by MIT researchers found that false information spreads significantly faster on Twitter than the truth. Why? Because lies are often more sensational, more attention-grabbing. They trigger our emotions, making us more likely to share them without thinking critically. It's like the old saying, a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes. In the digital age, lies can travel around the world multiple times before the truth has even tied its laces. And once a lie takes hold, it can be incredibly difficult to debunk. Don't just consume, question. So, what's the solution? We need to become more critical consumers of information. We need to be skeptical of headlines, question our own biases, and seek out diverse perspectives. Don't just accept everything you see and hear at face value. Think for yourself. It's like going to a buffet. You wouldn't just pile your plate with the first things you see, would you? You'd take your time, survey the options, and choose carefully. That's how we need to approach information online. Be selective, be discerning, and don't be afraid to ask for seconds of things that actually nourish your mind. Your brain on autopilot. Here's the thing. Our brains are wired to conserve energy. They love shortcuts, patterns, and anything that requires minimal effort. That's why it's so easy to fall into the trap of passive consumption. We scroll, we click, we like, all on autopilot without really engaging our critical thinking skills. Think about how you feel after hours of mindless scrolling, exhausted, drained, a little empty inside. That's your brain telling you it needs a break from the digital junk food. It's craving something more substantial, something that will actually nourish it and help it grow. Breaking the cycle tips for mindful consumption. So how do we break free from this cycle of passive consumption? First, be aware of your own biases. We all have them. Once you're aware of them, you can start to challenge them. Second, diversify your media diet. Don't just get your news from one source. Seek out different perspectives, even if they make you uncomfortable. Third, take breaks from technology. Go for a walk, read a book, Have a conversation with a real human being. It's amazing how much clearer your thinking becomes when you give your brain a chance to unplug and recharge. The power of offline time. There's a reason why so many great ideas come to us in the shower or on a walk in the woods. When we disconnect from the constant barrage of digital stimulation, we give our brains the space they need to wander, to make connections, to think creatively. Offline time isn't just about relaxation, it's essential for learning and growth. It's when we process information, make sense of our experiences, and come up with new ideas. So the next time you find yourself mindlessly scrolling, put down the phone and step away from the screen. Your brain will thank you. Reclaiming our attention, reclaiming our minds. In a world that's constantly vying for our attention, it's more important than ever to be mindful of how we spend our time and what we allow into our minds. Passive consumption might be easy, but it's not fulfilling. It's time to reclaim our attention, engage our critical thinking skills, and start really learning again. Remember, the internet can be a powerful tool for learning and growth. But like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. It's up to us to decide how we want to use it. So let's choose wisely. Let's choose to be learners, not just consumers.